Hey, this is James Brandt doing the podcast. We're going to focus on the word grieving and how essential the grieving process is. This is, to me, another special podcast. Because I know God brings people, He'll bring people in my life at the right time, and a deep connection's made where you realize you can connect through interest, and I won't say the person's name, but this guy, he's a really cool guy, young gentleman, who's very positive. You can tell he loves life, and I told him I would reach out on this topic and do what I do best. With grieving, and we all dealt with it. How do you cope with the grieving process? Negative ways of coping, of course, are overeating, oversmoking, overdrinking, consuming drugs and alcohol. Healthy ways of coping in the grieving process: crying, physical exercise, traveling, getting out the area, being active in your community, getting to the movie theaters, being with people, socializing, listening to music, being with your family. Now, speaking from my personal experience with grieving, with my grandmom when she died, my biggest coping skill with dealing with her death was speaking at her funeral. Me connecting with my family, letting them know my emotions on how I felt about what's happening this present day, and how in shock I was, regardless of how old she was. She was a prominent figure in my life, and that's my example. But I encourage the people who lose someone that special, who you were connected with so strongly, him, her, whoever. I encourage you to represent yourself and speak upon the impact that person had on your life. Leave a lasting impression in that person's presence, so you can get a lot of steam, anxiety off your chest. You can deliver a prominent verbal showing of affection with desire in an emotional state that makes people understand and gravitate to your words and understands that you are needed by your family in these tough times. And through your acknowledgement of the person you're grieving over at that funeral, you will feel much better. You will have the backing, and you will supply support that you didn't even know you were supporting to people who feel lost in translation. Man, we complain that life is hard. Nah, death is harder. Because when a loved one leaves us, that can be a huge gaping hole for us to be reckless and careless. So, when you're grieving, and it's a prominent figure who you had a deep relationship with, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your great friend, a teacher, whoever it is, allow yourself to cry. If you're at that funeral and somebody says you cannot cry, or why are you crying? They're the people who need to grow up. They're the people who need to show some emotion. They're the people who need to be taken to the side and let them know, understand that people have the free will to show emotion during these tough times. Through the grieving process too, you are allowed to hold on as long as you want. Like I said, life is hard, but death is harder. We never forget these people who leave our sight in the physical. We get so comfortable in this physical. Some people don't even understand when death hurts and they're grieving. They're in such state of shock that it ruins the person's internal, the mind state, feelings. But through healthy grieving, letting it all out, the emotions, the verbals, the nonverbal cues, the thoughts, just going through that process will allow you to feel a little bit better. And you'll see along the way, once you're expressing yourself through various situations and your ideas on how to pay homage to these lost figures that were so prominent, then other people say, hey, I see him and her taking this situation more positive. I can do the same thing. Be a staple for other people in your family, your circle, your inner circle, to continue on. Let them show the emotion. Let them grieve as long as they need to. Some people, they know how to filter it out. And then there's some people who will walk in the store, fall to the ground, because they see somebody who might look like that figure who just passed on. Or they'll get that smell that reminds me of a Pop or or mom or grandmom or grandpa. It's a never-ending battle when we're losing our loved ones. I encourage people to value life in spite of death. Death is painful, but I also just encourage people to invite Christ into their life and remember He's that figure that allows everlasting life. It's up to us humans to understand also that He's not taking away our family to penalize us. So don't be angry at God. Please don't be angry at God. It's just natural. Even though it sounds unnatural. And these prominent figures who do die, if they were an inspiration to you, live your life in the same positive manner that they did. Take on new leadership roles in spite of that person's death. Step in. Be a big positive leader for your siblings, your family. Let them know that you're going through the same pain, but it's okay to grieve different. We all grieve different. Let it out. Again, let it out. Let the tears flow. Life's not perfect. But enjoy the time with your loved ones as long as you can. Pay homage. Pay respect. Remember the good they did. I hope these people who were grieving after were good people. And everybody has a good side of it. It's just life. Nobody's perfect. But again, you can't let it disrupt your life, your entire life. Pain is temporary. It comes and goes. It will subside. But of course, holidays will come around. But in my last sentences of this podcast, it's up to you to pay homage during them times and have positive and nurturing and I'm losing myself because it's sad. You have to pay respects during the holidays and remember the good times when them people aren't around. They're the toughest times, holidays, birthdays. To regain, because we want to regain the same feelings. You want to regain these feelings with these people, but they're not here in the physical. So enlighten your family on positive stories. Laugh and cry during the holidays. Because if we don't reminisce about these people through our trials and tribulations of inner thoughts that are just stuck with us, these memories that we can't get back in the physical, it can be draining mentally. And the mental aspect of life is the hardest. It's so hard because your mind will play tricks on you. I remember when my Aunt Merle died. For example, I was driving down Route 61 in Deer Lake, and it was right like 2 days after the funeral, and my aunt, she always drove a Buick Regal. She had tons of Buick Regals throughout her life. She was a mechanic, master mechanic. She could fix anything. But to get to the story, because I was driving in the zone, and I was grieving at the time, and so focused on her passing, I seen my aunt. I was so deep in thought that I seen my aunt on the side of the road, and I burst out into tears because I said, oh my God, I just seen my Aunt Merle. And when I look back, and you know what? Nobody was there. Nobody was there. But that's how deep in thought I was and focused on her that she was never there. It was an illusion. But you know what? I'm glad that happened to me, because it made me remember that, you know, she must have been an important figure. That's why my mind told me she was right there. And that told me that she's okay. You're going to realize a lot of the people that we lose are really great people. And they love us from the bottom of their heart. And when they leave us, they don't want to leave, but they understand when it's their time to go. And I've been at the side of my family members' deathbed, and I held their hand, and I'm glad I was there. It wasn't scary. But for those who don't get to see their family, who have passed on tragically, remember, they love you. And I can't speak for everybody, because there are some people who have bad experiences, of course, with people in their family, and when they pass, it's not the lovey-dovey story. But for the people who lose people who are influential in their life, and you don't get to see them for a last time because maybe they moved or something just tragic happened, like I said before. I don't want to keep on saying that. But, again, they're the people who are thinking about you every day, and they want to see you succeed, and they want to see you achieve, and they're looking down on you beyond in the heavens, and they're your guardian angels. On that note, I'm going to end this podcast. Please never give up during the time of grieving, when we lose people in our life. You know, the people who have lost people, trust me, God has your back. He will provide comfort. He has done it so many times for me. And I don't want to sound like a preacher, but God's answer, and reach to Him for answers. If you have any questions, talk to your family. You can get answers through God from a family member, because He'll send somebody, or He'll send just a stranger. You'll be somewhere, and somebody will just come out of the woodworks and give you so much comfort that it embeds you with happiness. And yeah, I was supposed to end this, but I just wanted to let y'all know that. Hey, this is James Brandt signing off. Another podcast on iHeartRadio and Spreaker. Man, it's been a blessing to do this. It just doesn't help me, it helps other people. And we're just gonna keep bringing it, man. You know, let the critics be critics. Let the people who love it, love it. It's okay. That's why, you know, this is life. You can't let nothing bug you. Anyway, I'm signing off. Yo, have a lovely night. Love your family. Love your friends. Hold no grudges. Because you never know. Anything can happen in this life. You know how it goes. I'm out. Have a great night. Love y'all.